Sometimes the most dangerous lies are whispered in love. At 6:42 a.m., police lights flooded the quiet suburban street in Surrey, England. Neighbors stood behind curtains as officers taped off the driveway of a modest brick home. Inside, detectives moved slowly through the living room, careful not to disturb anything. There were no signs of forced entry. No shattered windows. No overturned furniture. Just silence. Upstairs, in the master bedroom, they found Jennifer Gledhill. She was lying beside the bed, her phone inches from her hand. The screen was cracked. One final message sat unsent in the text bar: "We need to tell him." No one knew who him was. Jennifer had been reported missing the night before by her husband, Daniel Gledhill. He told officers she had gone out for a late drive to clear her head after a small argument. He said she never came back. But the car was still in the garage. Detective Inspector Hannah Price studied the scene carefully. Something felt wrong. Too clean. Too quiet. Jennifer's purse was untouched. Her coat still hung by the door. If she planned to leave, she hadn't taken anything with her. Downstairs, Daniel sat at the kitchen table, pale and shaking. "She's been distant," he admitted. "But I would never hurt her." Price noticed faint scratches on his wrist. "How did that happen?" "Garden work," he replied quickly. Hours later, forensic teams recovered Jennifer's phone data. Deleted messages were restored. Late-night calls to an unknown number appeared almost every evening for 3 months. Long conversations. Hidden contact name. No photo. The number belonged to someone much closer than anyone expected. When detectives traced it, the registered owner made Price's stomach drop. It wasn't a stranger. It wasn't a co-worker. It was Daniel's best friend. And when they opened Jennifer's locked email account, what they found changed everything. Detective Inspector Hannah Price didn't speak as the email loaded. The room felt smaller, heavier, as if the air itself knew what was coming. The first message was dated 4 months earlier. "I can't keep pretending," Jennifer had written. "He suspects something. We need a plan." The reply came minutes later. "Soon. Just trust me. I'll handle Daniel." The sender's name: Mark Turner. Daniel's best friend. Best man at their wedding. Godfather to their daughter. Price leaned back slowly. Affairs were painful. Betrayal was common. But this felt calculated. Controlled. The word plan lingered in her mind. Officers brought Mark in for questioning that afternoon. He arrived calm, almost rehearsed. Tall, well-dressed, polite. He didn't deny the affair. "It just happened," he said quietly. "We didn't mean to hurt anyone." Price watched him carefully. Did Daniel know? Mark hesitated. Just long enough. "I don't think so." Phone records told a different story. 2 nights before Jennifer died, Daniel had called Mark 6 times in under 10 minutes. None were answered. The following morning, Mark called Jennifer at 5:12 a.m. That call lasted 17 seconds. "What did you talk about?" Price asked. "I don't remember," Mark replied. But investigators did. A neighbor's doorbell camera picked up Daniel's car driving toward Mark's flat at 5:29 a.m. It returned 23 minutes later. Daniel had said he never left the house. Meanwhile, forensic results from the bedroom added another layer. There were no defensive wounds on Jennifer's hands. No broken nails. No signs of a struggle. Which meant she likely knew the person standing in front of her. Back at the station, Price replayed the final unsent message from Jennifer's phone. "We need to tell him." Tell him what? That she was leaving. That she was pregnant. When forensic analysts completed the autopsy report, the answer struck like a hammer. Jennifer was 8 weeks pregnant. The father's identity was still unknown. And when detectives obtained DNA samples from both Daniel and Mark, the lab technician called Price personally. "There's something you need to see," he said. Because the results didn't match just one of them. They matched both. They matched both. Detective Inspector Hannah Price stared at the DNA report, certain she had misheard. "That's not possible," she said. The lab technician swallowed. The samples taken from the bedroom match Daniel. But the DNA from under Jennifer's fingernails matches Mark. The room went silent. There had been no visible struggle. No broken furniture. No loud screams reported by neighbors. Yet Jennifer had fought back, just enough to leave proof behind. Price felt the pieces shifting into place. Daniel was brought in again. This time, he looked less steady. "You said you never left the house," Price reminded him calmly. "I didn't," Daniel insisted. Price slid a printed photo across the table. It showed his car on Mark Street at dawn. Daniel's jaw tightened. "Fine. I went to talk. That's all." "About the affair?" He didn't answer. Across town, officers searched Mark's flat with a warrant. In his trash bin, they found a torn envelope. Inside were printed ultrasound images. Jennifer's name was clearly visible at the top. When confronted, Mark's calm mask began to crack. "She told me it was mine," he whispered. "She said she was going to leave Daniel." Back at the station, Daniel finally broke. "She told me the same thing," he said through clenched teeth. "But she said the baby might be mine." 2 men. 1 secret. 1 pregnancy. Price leaned forward slowly. "So which one of you was in that bedroom when she died?" Daniel shook his head. "I left her alive." Mark said the same. But security footage from a petrol station changed everything. At 6:18 a.m., minutes before police lights filled the street, someone was seen buying bleach and gloves. The receipt was paid in cash. The camera zoomed in just enough to show the buyer's face. And it wasn't Daniel. It was Mark. When officers moved to arrest him, he didn't run. He just smiled. And said, "You still don't understand what really happened." Mark's smile didn't look nervous. It looked confident. Detective Inspector Hannah Price studied him carefully. "Then help me understand," she said. Mark leaned back in his chair. "You think this is simple. An affair. A jealous husband. A fight. But you're missing the part where Jennifer was planning to leave both of us." Price's eyes narrowed. "Both of you?" Mark nodded slowly. "She found someone else." The room shifted. "Who?" Price asked. Mark hesitated, but this time it wasn't fear. It was calculation. "Check her work laptop." Within hours, the digital team pulled Jennifer's hidden folders. Buried beneath normal files was a private email account. Different password. Different life. There were messages to someone named A. The tone was different from the one sent to Mark. These were careful. Thoughtful. Hopeful. "I'm starting over," she had written. "I'll tell them soon." Price felt the case widening. Security logs showed that Jennifer's office keycard had been used late at night the week before her death. But Jennifer had told Daniel she was visiting her sister in Manchester. She had been lying. Meanwhile, forensic teams re-examined the bedroom. The bleach bought by Mark had been used, but only downstairs, on the kitchen sink. Not in the bedroom. Which meant someone else had tried to clean something. Daniel's phone location data finally came through. At 6:11 a.m., just minutes before Mark appeared at the petrol station, Daniel's phone pinged near the river bridge outside town. Why would he be there at dawn? Officers searched the riverbank. Hidden beneath wet stones, they found Jennifer's missing cracked phone case. Not the phone. Just the case. Back at the station, Price placed it on the table between Daniel and Mark. "Only one of you went to the river," she said quietly. Daniel's face drained of color. But before he could speak, a uniformed officer rushed in. We just identified A." Price turned sharply. "Who is it?" The officer swallowed. "It's your sergeant."